to the channel. We're back with another video. This one's pretty exciting. We're going to be working on the S15 again, and today and over the next couple of days we're going to be giving it some mad dose turbo flutter, also known as compressor surge. Yeah, super keen for this one at the moment. It's currently got all the stock set up under the hood, so we're going to be altering a few things in there to give it that mad, that iconic turbo noise. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, compressor surge, or more commonly known as dose, turbo flutter, all those things, VL, dose. In a turbo engine, when you let off the throttle body and that throttle body closes, all that boost pressure throughout the intercooler piping needs to go somewhere. So ideally you run a blow-off valve which vents that air, all that pressure, either to atmosphere, which gives you that psst noise, or it gets vented back into your intake and back into your motor. That is like the most efficient way of running a turbo engine. You get better throttle response and you don't lag your turbo up, which is what dose generally does, because what you do is you run no blow-off valve, so when you back off that throttle, all that compressed air in your intercooler piping has to go somewhere, can't go onto the motor, can't go through the blow-off valve, so it goes back through your turbo and gets chopped up by the compressor wheel on the turbo. So as it's getting forced back through, it chops that air up and goes, yeah, and it sounds sick. We're going to be doing that to the S15. The main thing it entails is basically just getting rid of the blow-off valve and making sure the intake pipe on the turbo where it sucks the air into the turbo is aluminium or metal to give it a bit of an echo, and bigger the better and shorter the better as well, because then the sound can escape, and you're also going to have a pod filter on there so the sound can escape as well, otherwise the airbox, this factory airbox, is just going to muffle it all. But anyway, enough talking, let's pop the hood of this beast and have a gander at what we're dealing with. So here we are under the hood of the S15, we've got our blacktop SR20. So this is our throttle body that I was talking about. Here's our current intercooler piping. So it goes down into a stock side mount intercooler that's buried away under there. Super restrictive setup. To the turbo, here's our airbox. It's going to muffle all our flutter, and it's also like a rubber intake hose there, so that's going to destroy our flutter as well. But the biggest culprit of the dose destroyer is that thing hidden away down there. I'll point to it. That thing there, that's our little factory blow-off valve. So whenever you let off the throttle here, it vents it through a pipe, which is this one here, and back into your intake. So every time you're backing off the throttle, this air that builds up in this piping here will be going straight back into your intake and not giving you any cool noises. So first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to just rip all of this out. So we're going to get rid of the blow-off valve, the intercooler piping, the intercooler, the airbox, the intake. We're going to pull all the piping out, and we're going to be putting our own in there. So without further ado, I'm going to start ripping into this, pulling stuff apart, and then we can take a closer look at what we're actually going to be doing. Alright, so we got the majority of most of the stock intercooler and intake stuff off the car there. Here we have our main dose destroyers. So most importantly, the blow-off valve. So yeah, this thing lets the air go away instead of through our turbo, which this is better for your turbo and your response, but we want the cool noises, so we'll be doing away with that. There's a vacuum source on top that keeps like the solenoid thingy down until you let off the throttle. This is our rubber silicon intake pipe from the turbo, so that's going to muffle a lot of our noise, and that's where the blow-off valve was recirculating to. That's going to muffle a lot of our mad dose sound, so we don't want that. We want some nice aluminium there, and then same as the airbox. So this muffles all your good noises as well, so we'll be doing away with that and getting a nice pod filter on there to let all those amazing sounds escape. So not all of this is necessary if you want mad dose. Basically you could just replace this and the airbox, get rid of this, and keep the horrible side mount set up if you wanted, and you'd probably get some mad flutter out of it. But we're going to be doing a front mount intercooler kit while we're at it. So ideally you'd probably just buy an intercooler kit for one of these. There's so many companies that make them and they just bolt straight on, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently and make it myself because I enjoy doing it and it's good practice. So yeah, I'm going to be making my own intercooler kit. I won't be going too in depth with it because it will take forever, but basically we got big black intercooler there. I went and bought a dock off saw so I can get some nice cuts. Got a heap of 2.5 inch aluminium bends and stuff. I'm going to be doing it all out of 2.5 inch aluminium, and then I got like 2 meters of straight as well, so I can do pie cuts or whatever I like to try and make an intercooler kit for this thing. So I'm going to be routing 2.5 inch from the turbo down and around into our big black intercooler, and then coming back up through here and into our intake. Then I'm going to be tidying up the bay and doing as much as I can to just neaten it up all around. So I've got the big black front mount intercooler on here, all stealthy, pretty stoked with the mounting of it. So I folded the horns back that way, this pushed straight up in here, bolt straight through there and straight through there, and then I made some brackets up to go underneath like that and like that. I'm obviously still going to paint them, but I'm just mocking everything up first and then pull everything off for paint at the end. But yeah, pretty stoked with how that's come out. That was just way too easy to do. Sits nice and high, central, and it is super sturdy, like super sturdy. Yeah, stoked with how it's coming along. So now I'll start looking at intercooler piping, which is going to be a world of joy. Alright, so I didn't film heaps of it, but I have finished making my intercooler kit. Here's a couple of the pieces. One, there's another one, and there's one already bolted on the car, which I'll show you guys soon, but that's all done. So I'm going to start bolting it on. I've also got my intake side all done, so we've got the factory airflow meter for now. We will change that or get rid of that at some point, adapt it to a pod filter. So big nice open-ended pod filter, gonna let all those dose sounds escape, so that's essential. And then we've got a bit of aluminium pipe, which is going to help our dose sounds echo and not get muffled like a silicone or rubber intake would do. So yeah, you can say this is our dose pipe. So pretty keen to get this on here. So I'm going to start throwing all this together, getting it on there, and then we can see if what we did gives us a mad flutter. Also going to be throwing on this little boost T thing, just a little boost controller, deleting all the factory boost control stuff. Not going to be turning it up heaps, like just put 10 psi, 12 psi or something through it, just to get us through till we get this thing tuned properly. So the intercooler's mounted. This is the other pipe I made, looking good. Some welds for you. Some of them actually came out pretty decent, pretty happy with some of them. Straight through the battery tray, so I'm going to be welding in plate sheet metal and covering all that and making it all nice and bushing it and doing all that stuff. But for now we're just going to do that just so we can hear it dose for the time being, and then spend a little bit more time doing other things, tidying it up. Going to be relocating the battery and the boot and a few other things I've got to do, but for now we're going to just get it dosing. So here we have our dose pipe. It goes on the front of the turbo where the turbo sucks the air in. Ideally, there's this hose here. It's from the rocker cover to the intake of the turbo, and it helps the motor breathe. Ideally, you would run this to a catch can and block it off going into the turbo if you want more dose, I suppose. But I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, and I want to leave the engine breathing like it was from factory, so I'm not going to mess with it as of yet. But yeah, basically that's just going to go in there like that. I need a silicone joiner. And there we have it. Intercooler kit, front mount intercooler, dose pipe and blow-off valve delete is done. Looking really good. Super happy with the outcome. It's going to look really nice once I've actually painted the rocket cover and that. And the original plan was to paint all the piping black, but I'm undecided at the moment, and obviously still have to fill all that in, bush it, make it all nice, bush the other side, relocate the battery. I got to paint these brackets I made that are holding the intercooler up, so I got to paint them still. Man, that intercooler fits so nicely. Just folded the horns back there. It's yeah, it's an absolute beautiful fit. Love how it's come out. Oof, love those wheels. Well, yeah, I'm just going to sit the battery somewhere where I can hook it up temporarily just for a minute and see if we can get a little bit of a dose just sitting here revving it. Obviously not going to be as much dose as you would get driving down the road, because when you're driving you actually get boost pressure. Sitting here you don't. We'll take it for a spin once I relocate the battery, and we'll check the dose out then, and I'll mic the engine bay up. But for now, I'm going to give her a start and see if we can get a little bit of noise just sitting here. Pretty excited. Alright, so I've got the battery just on jump leads connecting to the leads there. So I'm going to give her a start. Going to have to let it warm up a bit before we give it a little rev and see if we can get a dose. Alright guys, she's warmed up. Let's give her a little dose. Not bad at all. It's going to sound sweet when it's actually hitting like full boost down the road and then fluttering, because that's making like 1 PSI or something. I wasn't really watching. Alrighty, it's a few days later than the footage you were just watching. I got the car finished up, and then late that night, and then the next day went and chewed up some mountains down the Great Ocean Road. So that was absolutely sick. Car was running amazing. We got all the front bar back on, all the piping hooked up. I haven't done the final touches with cleaning up and blocking off and bushing and stuff, but I just got it together so I can drive it. Got the boost reference in and the idle air control valve hose in. I had to delete the boost controller because with the boost controller, even on 0, the car would still hit like, well, it reached like 20 psi, so it wasn't flowing enough air to the wastegate. So now it's running straight from the intercooler pipe straight over to the internal wastegate there on the T28. And I don't know what's going on. It mustn't be flowing enough air to the wastegate or something. But like, it's a lot better, but in 3rd gear, if I rev it to redline, it was still like creep, like up to stupid PSI, like 18 plus. So I'm not revving it to redline in 3rd. It's a bit annoying. I need to have a look at it. I think it might not be flowing as much air as it should through this barb. I might need to put on something better onto the pipe. Look at something there, and got the battery all relocated in the boot. Came up really good. Pretty happy with how she looks. Real tidy, I reckon. So there's that, and then under here there's the ground, and then in there got the circuit breaker there, resettable one. So all hidden. Pretty happy with how that looks. I just threw the external mic in the engine bay just here and ran it through into the cab, so I'm going to GoPro up and go for a drive and show you guys what it sounds like cruising down the road. Alrighty, hopefully you can hear me alright. I just had to go get an adapter so I can actually use my external mic plugged into my phone recording the engine bay sounds. So we're just at J-Car, but I'm going to cruise home now and give you guys a few sound clips of what the new dose pipe and intercooler piping sounds like without the blow-off valve. So yeah, it's I I will show you what it sounds like from inside the car as well, but the GoPro mic is really crap, so it won't pick much of it up. And I can't put the window down because the GoPro is mounted to the window. Sounds absolutely sick, I love it. Little tunnel run. Alright, we just got back from the drive. Hope you guys enjoyed the footage. As you can tell, it obviously sounds absolutely insane. I'm so stoked with how it's come out. Absolutely love the sounds she's making now. That turbo dose flutter, or aka compressor surge. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two about making turbos make cool noises. Yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Still locked down in Victoria, so not going to be doing a whole lot of drifting anytime soon, so just going to have to keep tinkering with the street car and doing things on this. I do have a aero front bar and rear pods coming in the mail. I've had them on order for a very long time, so still waiting for them. Hopefully they're not too far off, and we are currently also filming Ben's engine rebuild, his RB for the 33. I've mentioned it before, but it's all going ahead. Crank is in and pistons and rods aren't far off, so he's going to be doing a little bit of filming himself for that, because I think he's going to be doing it while I'm at work, but there'll be a bit of footage for that coming. This thing's going to be mental. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Smack the like button if you did. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one.